Greetings, ENC2210 folks. Welcome back for week 3. We're going to take a look at what's happening this week, which means we're moving from interest to experience. So let me go ahead and open the course as well as the syllabus. So we're going to take a look first at the schedule. As I mentioned, we are working on the experience inventory this week, if I can ever get down there. And in terms of what you're reading about and writing about, we're going to be learning about ethical and legal obligations specifically for technical and professional writing, and also writing collaboratively and writing for social media. So our discussion board this week is about social media strategies. And then, as I mentioned, you're going to be doing your experience inventory, which is similar to the interest inventory, but it is really preparing you for your upcoming resume, cover letter type stuff. So anyway, that's where we are in time. And let's take a look at this week's module. So in the learning materials, of course, you have a link to the textbook. You are going to read chapters 2 and 3. And then there are some videos, of course, that will also supplement your reading. So make sure that you do the readings, make sure that you watch the videos. And then, of course, it is time to do the graded assignments. So this week, you've got 2 things to do: the social media strategies discussion board and the experience inventory. So let's take a look first at the social media one. A lot of you had mentioned that this was a topic that you were very interested in. So hopefully you'll have some fun with this. In this discussion post, it's time to let your classmates and me know your thoughts on social media and how it affects our lives. Here's a list of things to include. So you can answer some or all of these questions. What social media platforms play an important role in our society? What role does social media play in your own life? What impact can use of social media have on our personal lives and on our work lives? Do you believe that employers should have access to the social media content for all of their employees? Why or why not? And do you believe that comments made on social media should be monitored and censored, or censored? Why or why not? There's a lot of interesting arguments that come along with social media, and you can have whatever opinion you want. Just make sure you back it up with your reasoning. So why or why not is an important part of that. Remember, for this post, your own post needs to be a full essay. So you'll have an introduction, you'll have body paragraphs, you'll have a conclusion. Note that the rubric even calls for essay form. So if it is not in an essay, you're going to lose points for that. Good level of detail, of course, proper grammar and punctuation. I would encourage you to write it out in Word so that you can save it, run Grammarly, run spell check, but do copy and paste it onto the discussion board instead of attaching it. It just makes it a lot easier for your fellow classmates to read it. You can also write it directly on the discussion board. Nothing is going to stop you from doing that. I worry about it when I'm doing discussion boards because I am always convinced that I'm going to lose power right in the middle. So I always do my discussions in Word and then copy and paste them. It just makes me feel safer. And you've got it saved. So if something does happen, you can go back to it. If and when you are responding to others, you are not required, but if you do, you want to make sure that you are responding regularly and fully. If you are doing that, at the end of the term, you're going to get extra credit points. I don't really assess until the very end, but you should keep in mind that usually if you're going to finish this discussion board, which you are, due September 10th, try to have your responses to others posted by 1 week from that date. So the following Sunday. It's just a good way to keep up with it. So that's your social media discussion board assignment. And then the next assignment is a more formal assignment, which is your experience inventory. So In ENC 2210, we'll be focusing on writing for both technical and professional purposes. Part of getting prepared for that is to put some thought into where you've been and where you're going. So in this particular report, you're going to share your past, present, and future in terms of education, work, and other interests. This should be an APA document, so you will have a cover page. The body, even less so than last week, is probably going to be more report style or outline style than it is actual big long paragraphs. So think of this as kind of a rough draft of the way that you would include information on a resume. Now, this is going to have more information typically than you would use on a resume, but kind of think of that where you've got lists and things of that nature rather than big long paragraphs. You are going to want to use headings for this, past, present, and future. You can also break it further down into education, work, and if relevant, volunteer or non-paid positions. And you want to separate them out in that chronological order. So the report should cover all the following and be arranged like it talks about here. So past, what have you done education-wise? Record all secondary and higher educational institutions, attendance dates, locations, field of study. Did you graduate? Did you complete? How much? If you wanted to include your GPAs and things like that, you certainly can. Any awards that you were given, really everything that you could then later use to create a resume. Now, you won't use all of that information on a resume, but having it here is going to make it accessible so that you could use it, and that you could recall it when the time comes to write a cover letter and things of that nature. So this is essentially your own personal encyclopedia of all the things that you've ever done that could be relevant when you are applying for work or scholarships or internships or whatever. So that's part one. Then the work history. If you have not had any paid jobs, and this happens every semester, I get at least a few people who are brand new to the work world, that's fine. But I do want you to think about things that you have done that would showcase job skills. So volunteer and non-paid positions. Maybe you are in a youth group at your church. Maybe you're in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or some kind of club or organization that is not directly school, but that would showcase your abilities, leadership skills, people skills, all of those things. Part two, of course, will be the present, and that's where Lake Sumter should go because you are currently taking a course at Lake Sumter. Some of you are also taking courses other places. That's fine. Just record everything. You can include your courses taken, what areas you've been emphasizing if you've already kind of picked a subject matter, any campus organizations that you are or have been involved with at Lake Sumter or other college that you're currently involved with. Include what degree or certificate you are pursuing and when you expect to finish. Same thing with the work and in the present day. If you have a current job, this is where it would go. If you don't have a current job, same thing applies. What have you done or what are you currently doing for this section that would showcase your marketable skills? So even if you don't have a paid job, try to put some things in this category that would showcase your skills. And then finally, the future, and this is where a little research is going to come in. You are going to cite your sources. It's not a great way to say it because most of you, well, all of you are considered grown-ups because you're taking a college class. But what do you want to be? What do you want to do with your career and your education? And maybe you have interim educational goals, or maybe you have direct work goals. Both of those should be included. So do you plan to pursue formal education? If so, research and give details on possible places you could pursue them. Many of you already know you want to transfer to UCF, but I want you to do a little research. Think about other possibilities. And if you aren't thinking about further education, research how you would continue to develop professionally while in the work world. So are there organizations that you can join? Journals or trade publications that you might be reading, websites that are helpful in your field. So if you're going directly into the work world, that's what you should research. And imagine that you have completed your education and are ready to pursue employment in your field. Research employers for which you would like to work. And for some of you, that might mean, running your own business. So, you can research how to get started with something like that. Include in the research, where these places are, what are their benefits, what are their salary information, what is the company goal and vision. So this section, you are dreaming, okay? Sky's the limit. Research schools, research potential employers, and include that information here. You do not have to keep it realistic. If you want to say, oh, I want to go to work for Microsoft, then you're, maybe looking at Washington State. If you want to work for the New York Times, you'd be working in New York. So really, sky's the limit, but you've got to research for this one, okay? So put it in a Word document. You can single space the text because if it's in list form, double spacing looks very weird and is hard to follow. So feel free to single space everything other than the cover page and the references page. Do those in proper APA format. All right. If you have questions this week, please let me know. I will be around and I will chat with you for sure next week. But in the meantime, you'll probably hear from me as well. Take care, everybody. Have a great week 3.